are having an amazing week so far. My week has been so hectic. I'm extremely sleep deprived, but extremely fulfilled. This past weekend was my best friend's bridal shower. It was amazing. It was fun. We had such a good time. We laughed so hard. And by the time this podcast is out, we'll be in Cancun, Mexico for her bachelorette party, enjoying what's left of this hot girl summer. So, for last week, I hope you guys got a chance to work on the words to live by, which were almost doesn't count. And although I had initially spoken about the almost that we personally have in our lives and the things that we wish to accomplish, and for whatever reason we haven't, but they're still in the forefront of our minds, throughout the week, my thoughts on the topic went more towards the Brandy song Almost Doesn't Count. If you haven't listened to it, please do. It's so good. um so in the song, pretty much she's talking about a relationship and how it was almost great, almost, there was almost love, there was almost all these things. So that got me thinking about the way our interactions with others and the way our perceptions of what could be sometimes influence and blind us from what is. So this could be any type of relationship. This could be friendship, it could be a romantic relationship, family. But when we are in relationships, especially during the beginning, there's all this freshness, the butterflies, the excitement, the optimism of what something could be. And this is absolutely normal, and it's great, it's fun, it's lovely. Those feelings are the best. But as the relationship progresses, some of the potentials that we had seen progressing actually do not hit the pinnacles that we had expected them to. And this is absolutely fine. This is a part of life. But the problem now comes when we're still living or dealing in a space where we're living in those almost instead of in the reality. And the problem with this is that when the reality of what is and the potential that we're holding on to do not match, the day they come to a head can be a really difficult one, because almost always it's the reality that will win out. And when that reality is a disappointment compared to what you had imagined something to be, reconciling that in your mind and dealing with it can be very difficult. So yeah, almost does not count. And it's important that we take what is in our lives, if it's personal or interpersonal, at face value, because that's the only thing you can bank on. Like, of course, I hope one day I'll be great. But right now, I have to look at where I am and assess what's going on right now. Because if you look at the future so much that it blinds you from acknowledging and maybe even dealing with issues in the present, those issues could be the downfall that will never get you to the future that you want. So yeah, I really hope that helps you guys. So now I'm just going to get right into the talk for this week. And this week I will be talking about time. In particular, I'm going to be talking about our personal time zones. And what I mean by that is the rate at which we are destined to accomplish what we need to accomplish. So I'm sure we're all grown here. We know what a time zone is. And there are many different time zones all over the world. So right now I'm in Canada. I live in Eastern Standard Time. And compared to Nigeria, Eastern Standard Time is 5 to 6 hours behind, depending on daylight savings and all that good stuff. So let's say now, for example, it's in Canada, it's 6 p.m. on December 31st. We're still waiting for New Year's. We probably even haven't gone to church yet. For those of you like me who go to church every year, probably still preparing to go to church. But when that clock strikes 6 in Canada, in Nigeria, the clock is striking midnight and it's New Year's. Does that mean that Canada is now behind because we're not at New Year's yet? No, because we're in our own specific time zone, and the time that is meant for us to have that same thing has not yet come. So when it comes to our lives, I think it's important if you can adopt the metaphor of the fact that you are in your personal time zone, because if you do, it will save you so much confusion, so much pressure. And I'm just going to talk about three points with regards to our personal time zones. And the first one is acknowledge the fact that you have your own and we each have our own. With a life and accomplishments, especially when you get to an age like mine, like late 20s, there are a lot of things that you see some of the people around you doing. There are people who are buying houses, who are getting married, who are having children, who are in their dream jobs. And this is amazing. Like, I'm so happy for all the people who are doing exactly what they want to be doing and excelling at a fast rate. But then there comes the point where looking at what these people are doing, knowing that you want it and knowing that you don't have it yet could potentially bring about feelings of disappointment within yourself, because you feel like we're the same age, we went to the same school, we've been on the same timeline so far, so why do they have this and why don't I? And that's really a dangerous place to be. And if you acknowledge the fact that you have your own time zone, that will alleviate a lot of that burden. Because there are some people who are meant to be married at 21 and them and their spouse will live happily ever after forever. And there's some people who are meant to be married at 51 and them and their spouse will live happily ever after. There are some people who will buy their first home in their 20s, some who will buy their first home in their 40s, some who will be renters for the rest of their lives. And that's absolutely okay, you know? And what I want you guys to understand is that these competitions are not against anyone but yourself. You need to look at where you are and what you're doing, because like 2 episodes ago when I discussed preparation, you don't want to chase after what somebody else has to get it at the same time as them, just to get to that place and not be able to sustain it, you know? So understanding that we each have our own time zone is of the utmost importance to peace of mind and peace of mind. Peace of mind and not being too hard on yourself in the things you do. The second point is watching everyone else's time zone won't make yours come any faster. Just like I said with the Nigeria example, if you sit there and you're like, it's 6 p.m. here and you're like, oh my gosh, all my family back home in Nigeria are already sending their WhatsApp messages and sending me confetti and all that good stuff, and I'm still here and it's 6 p.m. Like, that won't change your time, you know? You need to acknowledge where you are and understand that place is where you're meant to be at the moment. Looking at other people is great. It's great to have inspiration. It's great to have people around you who are doing things that you want to do. And it's great to be surrounded by people who are at different stages and different levels in their lives. But understand that they are at different stages and different levels in their lives, just like you're at a different stage and a different level in your life. And I find that it's usually that one thing that we want that somebody else has that will magnify so much in our eyes that it'll blind us from the fact of seeing that there are certain things that you also have that that person may want, you know? And the thing is that when you have something in your life and it's not necessarily, let me find the right words. So when you have something in your life that is normal to you and it wasn't hard to come by, and there's something that you want that's a little more difficult to come by, there are times where we lose appreciation for the things that we already do have, because they lose their luster, they lose their shine, they lose their importance, because I have that. Just like someone might have purchased a home but you might have $20,000 in the bank, and you're looking at that $20,000 as, oh well, I have $20,000 in the bank, but that's not enough for a down payment. Whereas the person who owns a home has no savings because they depleted it all on their down payment, and they're wishing to have a nest egg or something that they could fall back on in the event that they needed extra money, you know? So it's just, watching someone else won't make yours come faster. Just pay attention to what you're doing and make sure that you're on the right path, because that leads to my third point, that although you can't rush your time, you can miss your time. So everything is meant to happen when it's meant to happen. That's what I believe. But having an open door, staring at a door, waiting for it to be opened, when that door is unlocked, if you do not open that door at the moment it's unlocked, it can stay open and you might not unlock your potential, you know? Because there are times when it is our time to do what we need to do. And but for whatever reason, we aren't prepared, so we miss out on that opportunity. And a lot of times I find that the reason why we're sometimes not prepared for our time when it hits is because we've been paying attention to the wrong things, you know? There is a time to hustle, there's a time to rest, there's a time to not go out every night, and there's a time to live your best life, you know? But if it's your saving season in life and you're spending all of your money going out to keep up with the people who are in their turn up season, when it comes time for your turn up season, you're going to be in your debt season because you did things in the wrong order. And that's really sad, and that's just unfortunate, because who wants to want something so badly and then get to the moment where it's actually supposed to be yours and you miss out on it because you didn't do things the right way, you know? So, yes, those are my 3 points about time zones. Just for a recap, we each have our own, is number one. Number two is watching someone else's won't make yours come faster. And number three is although you can't rush it, you can miss it. So now I'm just going to get right into our words to live by. And for this week, the words to live by are don't compromise your identity. So, a little bit of a backstory. As I said, my best friend's bridal shower was this past Saturday. So, all of the guests in attendance went around in a circle and gave her and her groom some advice for their wedding. For their marriage. And one of our friends gave her advice that really blew my mind, because I had never thought about things in that way, and I just found it so interesting and so insightful, and I thought that I should share with you guys because it could probably help you guys too. So what she told the bride was, don't compromise. She said that a lot of people discuss compromising as an important part of marriage, and this relates to any relationship, as most things do. But what she said is that there are some times where you should not compromise, because when you compromise, you lose your identity. There are some things that you should fight for, and you should come to a head and come to an understanding. So what I want you guys to take away from that for this week is that you should not compromise your identity. It's great to be agreeable. It's great to not be that one person who always stirs the pot or who always has something negative to say, because no one really likes that person. But there are certain things that for your own self-preservation, you should speak up about. There are situations that if you just let go by the wayside, may lead to something so much worse and may have far worse consequences than what you had intended. So when it comes to dealing with people and situations in which you may not agree with them, if it's a situation where compromising will do nothing to you, it'll just bring peace and everybody goes about their day, that's amazing, that's fine. Of course, do it. But if it's a situation where you compromising with that person will affect an important part of your being and your identity, maybe it's better to hash it out, you know? Maybe it's better for you to have that discussion, even if it's uncomfortable. Hopefully it doesn't get loud, but even if it gets a little loud, maybe it is much better for you to hash it out, because at the end of the day, self-preservation over everything, because and of course positive self-preservation. Don't preserve your negative traits and say that I told you that, because don't lie on my name. But yes, anything that compromising on it will negatively affect you and misrepresent who you are and eventually diminish your identity, I'd suggest that you don't compromise on it. And if that means walking away from a situation, that might be what you have to do. If that means no longer talking to someone, that might be what you have to do. If that means dragging out an uncomfortable, awkward conversation much longer than you need to because you can't afford to let it just go, then that's what you have to do. Our identities are everything, and it's sad to lose yourself because you brush things off. Some things cannot be brushed off. So that's what I want you guys to take away this week. One more time, don't compromise your identity. So I'm going to end the episode here today. It's a little short. I have a lot to do, and I told you guys I have an obligation to you, so I wanted to put something out. Next week I'll be back to regularly scheduled programming. I'll have great topics, and I'm sure I'll have stories to tell you guys and share with you about my trip. So have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.